Let's go to New York now. Julie Stewart-Binks, longtime friend of ours, wants to talk hockey. How you doing, JSB?
Hey, I'm doing great, Rod. Thank you so much for having me on. And Canada's team, I definitely don't feel that way about the Montreal Canadiens.
Nobody does. Nobody does. And I'm having a hell of a lot of fun with it. I can tell you that, Julie.
Yeah, so have I. I've been just making TikToks, as Clark knows. He's quite the TikTok guy. And I've been just throwing a lot of stuff, throwing the Montreal Canadiens under the bus, because I tried to explain it to my counterparts in the United States who say, oh, well, but it's Canada's team. It's the Canadian team. It's like, it's not like the Raptors or the Blue Jays, which is the only team of that league in the country where the whole country gets behind it. There are many teams across the country and many different, areas of Canada. And no, especially as a Toronto Maple Leafs fan, I do not want to see the Montreal Canadiens hoist the cup.
Well, that's kind of why I put Vegas up there as Canada's team, because Las Vegas is the whole world city. So let's say that. Now we don't have to fight about the 7 other teams in Canada. But listen, as a Toronto gal, and we got a lot of viewers in Eastern Canada, I want your take on the CN Tower being lit up in Montreal Canadiens colors.
God.
Take it away.
No. And whoever did that just didn't understand the pulse, I believe, of the rivalry, of the fact that this isn't, I'm sorry. I feel bad for the person that is in charge of that, because I would never want to have that fall on my shoulders, because that was just like a very big no-no, especially in the city of which you just dominated in Game 7. And now you're going to basically dance on their grave by putting the CN Tower in the colors of the Montreal Canadiens. Big, big, big no-no. Was not a fan of that. And you know what? Like, Habs fans have just been coming at me real hard. Same with Islanders fans. It's kind of like the two series in a way, right? Like you talked about, we Vegas Golden Knights. I'm obviously not on the team. I'm not even like a super fan of them, but they need more offense. And because they haven't been able to really generate as much as we thought they would, but it's like that offensive prowess that they had in the regular season. Same with Tampa Bay Lightning. And then you have these two teams like the Habs and the Islanders that are both just like clogging up the neutral zone and just being so hard to play against, that like maybe that's what the key is in the playoffs.
So I got a message last night, because I was doing another show last night. I didn't watch the New York-Tampa game till I got home. I saw the end. It's all I needed. But they said, hey, Nassau's rocking. And they had a pact last night. So does it reverberate where you're sitting right now that the Islanders have forced a Game 7? What's the reaction today?
Well, I'm in Manhattan, so this is like more of Rangers country. And it's just like everyone, there is... people here do not like the Islanders at all. Also, they're kind of like the Anaheim Ducks of California, where they're not like, even if they were to go to the Stanley Cup final, it just wouldn't. This is a basketball city. Like people would still talk about the Knicks or the Yankees or the Mets, and then the Rangers, and then obviously NFL. But the Islanders are really far down the list. I think that what we saw last night at the Coliseum is exactly what I expected from Islanders fans. Is that they are very troubled people inside. Their identity is hating other people and hating other teams. And that's why they're so obsessed still with John Tavares leaving. And I can't tell you how many people, like when Tavares got injured, and I know this is like awful, like they were happy about that here in like Islanders fans, which is disgusting, first and foremost, but also secondly, get over it. Like you won. Like you're doing great. Like your ex is gone and you're doing well. Don't worry about them. Stop scrolling and looking at them on Instagram. Like just get over them at this point. So they're just like, they're a lot. They're a lot to deal with. So I was not surprised that they were throwing beers at their own players. And Ryan Callahan had a great tweet that was like, imagine had they won what Nassau Coliseum would have. Or had they lost and Tampa won, what they would have done.
No kidding. By the way, there's Damien DeMesa writes in, I want to read this. He says, I can't wait for the CFL to start. Looking forward to Calgary kicking butt and winning another Grey Cup. I'll be watching from Florida. Hope the merger happens so I can see the CFL live. Damien, we will talk about that to get our CFL news in, because there is a breaking news today in the Canadian Football League that just came down. But yeah, talk about that. I got a notification because I turned the game off as soon as it ended. They said New York fans littering the ice, what could be the last ever game in Nassau County Coliseum. So that's kind of on point, JSB. Is that what you're telling me with Long Islanders, that they would do that?
Yeah, and it is. It's exactly on point. And my boyfriend's a Rangers fan. He kind of explained to me a lot of the history of the two teams and whatnot. Just he grew up on Long Island and is a Rangers fan. And it's just sort of how they acted is exactly what their identity is. And it's, to me, and I don't think Senators fans would do this, because I think much higher of Canadians in general, not Canadians, but Canadians, is that their identity is hating others. Like, the Ottawa Senators hate the Toronto Maple Leafs so much. They don't love their team that much, as much as they hate other teams. And that's kind of like the Islanders. I love saying all this because, like, everyone's just going to be like, "Oh, Julie, like, you suck. Stop talking about sports." But, this is the truth.
You're okay with it by now. And by the way, you worked here in the sweatpants capital long enough that whenever somebody throws something on the field or the ice here, I'm like, yeah, surprised there wasn't more. Our fans aren't a ton different than New York. Did you sense that in your time here?
Oh my gosh, no. Everyone in Saskatchewan and Regina was amazing and so nice and so sweet and fantastic. And that's why I still have a real soft spot when every time I see, Jordan Eberle score, Braden Point, like all these guys that either played there, grew up there, have a connection to Saskatchewan. It's like, oh, it's just, that is like I feel it's like the formative years of my life, even though I was like 100 years old at that point anyway. But I just feel like a soft spot for the prairies.
I was watching a national highlight show the other night, and they said, Jordan Eberle scores. I'm like, how are you still calling him Jordan Eberle?
Now, yeah.
It drives me nuts. I know. Jason in Red Deer says, is that a Motley Crue shirt, Julie? Nice. What's the story on the shirt that you're wearing today, and why did you dig that? The shirt,
actually, you know what? The shirt has a lot of meanings behind it when I saw it. Okay, so Motley Crue, Japan Tour 87. I was born in 1987 out there, but Japan, a little teaser, break the news right now. I am going to the Olympics. Have not announced that. Have not announced that publicly yet. I'm going to the Tokyo Olympics to cover baseball and softball.
Wow. Actually, Clark had mentioned that I needed to bring that up. So tell me more. Is this your first Olympics?
No, actually covered the Olympics in Russia with Jay and Dan.
Right. You did. I'm sorry.
A banana sandwich. But we weren't rights holders or anything like that. So we just got drunk with Chelios every single day. And Michelle Kwan. It was, one for the books. Actually, it's all in Jay Onright's book because it was so wild. But this time won't be like that because I am going to a country that is dealing with a state of emergency, obviously, but also with a rights holder. So I'm working with the Olympic news channel, so Olympic Broadcast Service. It's like you are the rights holder of the Olympics that then gives out all the information. So like when you see an interview, say on CBC or on NBC or wherever, that may be the interview I did, but you won't see my face, that's great. I'll just like tell everyone, that was my interview. But I'm excited. I love the Olympics. It's going to be different, and there's a lot of rules and regulations, but Japan is known for following all of those. And so hopefully everything goes according to plan. They have a lot in place. I just printed out like 10,000 pieces of paper about going to Japan. And I'm pumped though, because for baseball, those who don't know, right, there's no major leaguers from North America there. But there are guys that have played even this year, like on my show last night, Drinks with Binks, plug in that. Todd Frazier, some of you may remember from the Yankees, the Mets, the White Sox. He was on the Pirates this year, the Reds, of course. And he is going with Team USA. And so he's pretty jazzed about it. and guys like Matt Kemp, Mike Scioscia is the manager of Team USA. And then you also have on the other side, like Masahiro Tanaka, who is with the Yankees, is pitching for Team Japan. So there's going to be some interesting storylines, and you have a lot of guys that are prospects that will be in there. So it's like guys that are sort of on the riding out in the horizon of their career, and then guys that are just starting. So we'll see how it is.
I'm pretty pumped. I'm pumped for the Olympics. I'm pumped now to watch you doing that, JSB. Good for you, man. That's very exciting. And I do remember all your stuff from Sochi. That just looked like the time of your life.
That was the steam room, right? With Chelios and Kwan and Dan Patrick, right?
Yeah, I don't know how much coverage of the Olympics we did. I know that we definitely enjoyed the Olympics and everything there, but no, we did. We covered a lot of stuff. But this will be a lot more. This will be more of a job. That was more of an experience. So, and I don't know how much of the whole city will be able to see and doing all that kind of stuff. But as you are dealing with this situation in the world still, but still the Olympics.
JSB, we have 2.5 minutes. I just need your take on Canada's team, the Golden Knights at Montreal tonight. Leonard versus Price. You're a hockey gal.
Okay,
what's going on?
Love the fact that Leonard's going back in net tonight. I think that's the right decision. He's been able to deal with the Bell Center and that crazy goal song that they have that is haunts my dreams. And I think that they can do it if, oh my gosh, can Mark Stone just get off the snide and be able to put the biscuit in the basket, as they say. There's so many nifty goal scorers on this team. They have just so much talent. They can do it. Got to get out of your own head. But what it's St. John Baptiste Day in Montreal. Ooh, that's a toughie going against that. Carey Price. We're seeing veterans. We're seeing reliable. We're seeing guys playing above their ability that they did in the regular season. This is going to be a real tough test for the Golden Knights. But all we can do is just hope that the Montreal Canadiens do not make it to the Stanley Cup Final. And if they do, I hope they make it to 7 games and lose in overtime in Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Final, because that's worse. It's the hope that kills you. Speaking
like a true Leafs fan, and I'm here for it. The honesty, the truth. I like it, JSB. Good for you. Hey, you already have a legion of fans, but for the newcomers that are just discovering you here on Game Plus TV, where can they watch your stuff and follow you?
Yes, all of my new fans I have cultivated from this interview. You guys can follow me on Twitter at JSB_TV, and then Instagram at JulieSB_. And I pumped up one of your other guests, James Duthie, with the book. Been reading it. It's great.
Beauties. It is a very good book. Very funny, actually. He's a funny guy. JSB, always good. Enjoy the hockey. Stay safe.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. Love talking with you, Rod.
And congratulations on the Tokyo Olympics. She's going there. So JSB checking in from New York.
You're watching Rod Pedersen On Demand. For more of The Rod Pedersen Show, visit rodpedersen.com or follow Rod Pedersen on social media.